So let me share with you some of the three case studies that we have done actually with our clients. And these three case studies are slightly different for each one of them. For case study 1, we are actually looking at a customer who is using a diesel boiler. And what we did was we actually converted them from diesel to LNG so that they can be more efficient. And the energy saving that we actually are able to help them achieve is about 10% energy cost saving, and a carbon emission saving is reduction by about 30%. Right? And then for the case study 2, this is actually a customer that requires power and cooling. And what we did was we used a combined cooling heat and power system where we actually provide a solution for them to work versus the grid. And this itself, the energy cost saving is about 18% and the carbon emission is reduced by about 4%. For case study 3, we actually have a customer that requires power, heat as well as cooling. So what we did was we put in place a combined cooling heat and power system that they are able to achieve a higher saving, and they managed to actually have a cost saving of about 10.3%, as well as a carbon emission of a reduction of about 9%. So for this customer, let's go into a bit of the detail. So first of all, this first customer that we have, they have been using diesel boiler to generate steam for their application. And what we did was they were using diesel, and every year they use about 10.95 gigawatt hour of diesel, right? And that's quite a substantial amount. And their total emission from the diesel boiler itself is about 2,921 tons of CO2 per year, right? So what we did was we came in with our LNG system, and we provide them liquefied natural gas that is actually allowing them to use natural gas boiler. And this itself, the amount of energy that they are using per year is about 9.86 gigawatt hour of LNG per year. And their total emission from this natural gas boiler is reduced down to about 1,990 tons of CO2 per year. So effectively what we did was we are able to help them with a cost saving that is close to about $144,000 per year. And in terms of the CO2 reduction, we reduced by about 931 tons per year, or around 32%. So this is actually a very classic case of a diesel boiler user. And next we have a case study number 2, where we basically have a customer that requires a lot of power as well as a lot of cooling in their manufacturing plant. So based on their current system, what they have was they use about 26.4 gigawatt hour of electricity per year. And out of this 26.4 gigawatt hour of electricity, part of that is used to generate chilled water in the region of about 6.132 million refrigeration ton of chilled water per year. So these are all using electricity to generate and produce. And for this particular customer, the total emission from the power plant, from the grid itself, is around the region of 10.771 thousand tons per year of CO2. And that itself, what we did was, after analyzing how they have used their system and their current system, what we did was we put in place a GasHub combined cooling heat and power system, and we are able to supply them about 17.765 gigawatt hour of electricity per year, and also around 4.73 million refrigeration ton of chilled water from this particular system per year as well, right? We recover the heat and we produce chilled water, supplying it to them using an absorption chiller. And this basically reduces their dependence on the grid from initial 26.4 gigawatt hour of electricity. Now they only need to tap from the grid about 5.3 gigawatt hour of electricity, and then also it reduces down the chilled water that is required to be generated from electricity, and that basically reduced down from about 6.1 million ton down to about 1.4 million refrigeration ton of chilled water per year. So with this exercise, what we did was we actually were able to achieve about $1.63 million saving for them. So this customer is very happy, and also at the same time we are able to help them reduce about 420 tons of CO2 per year. So this, even though it might not be a very huge amount of CO2 reduced, but because we are already working against a very efficient grid emission factor of about 0.408 kilogram of CO2 per kilowatt hour. So even though that is the case, but we are able to help them achieve a reduction as well. And the third case that we have actually done was actually for a customer that has power, cooling and heat requirements. And what the customer currently do is that they are actually using about 43.8 gigawatt hour of electricity per year, and this is actually 100% coming from the grid. And they have also a total requirement of almost 16 million refrigeration ton of chilled water per year and about 14,000 tons of steam per year for their application. And their total emission based on this utility that is used on site is close to 20,000 tons of CO2 per year. So what we did after analyzing their requirements is we put in place a combined cooling, heat and power system, and this system produces electricity on site, cooling as well as heat on site. So what we did was we produced about 22 gigawatt hour of electricity per year supplying to their use, and at the same time we recovered the heat that is coming from the system to produce around 3.066 million refrigeration ton of chilled water per year. And at the same time, we are also able to recover all the exhaust heat that is coming out from the system to produce about 14,000 tons of steam per year. So this basically reduces down their requirement from the grid from an initial 43.8 gigawatt hour of electricity down to about 19.4 gigawatt hour of electricity per year. And the chilled water requirement from the grid basically reduces down to about 12.7 million tons of chilled water. And for the heat, in terms of the steam, initially from 14,000 we were able to supply 100% of their steam requirement, and that's what actually reduced down their requirement of using steam from piped natural gas down to about 0 ton, which is basically they don't need to use the steam boiler, right? And so for this particular customer, we can see that the total saving achieved for them is about $1.4 million, and also a CO2 reduction of about 1,794 tons of CO2 per year. So if you take a summary look of these case studies that we have done, we could see that we basically helped customers reduce costs and also reduce CO2 emission at the same time. In this first case study, we can actually see that they have 140,000 saving, which is quite substantial for a small medium enterprise, and about 931 tons per year of CO2 reduction. And for the case of case study 2, we could see that there is about $1.63 million of saving per year and about 420 tons of CO2 saving, reduction per year. And for the case of case study 3, we can see that they basically have achieved about $1.4 million of saving per year and also almost 1,800 tons of CO2 per year. So from all these case studies that we have actually shown here, what we have effectively done is that we use technology, we use LNG or even piped natural gas to help our end user to reduce down their costs and also to reduce down their CO2 emission. So these are the kind of integrated technology and integrated solution that GasHub provides to our customer. Thank you very much.